Every single day, new species are being discovered. In fact, we already know of about 8.7 million. But how many of those can you name right now? By the end of today's video, you'll know some of the more obscure ones you may not have ever heard of.
But before we get into today's video, make sure that you're subscribed and ring the bell so that you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Selenadon. These animals look like a combination of rat and anteater, and we don't know whether it's cute or like a little bit freaky. They're burrowers, and you can usually find them out at night, but you probably don't want to, as Selenadons are venomous. There are only 2 species of Selenadon left living on Earth, and they are the Hispaniolan Selenadon and the Cuban Selenadon, and only one true genus is known. They're most closely related to the shrew, and look very much like huge versions of that animal, except for their long, cartilaginous snouts and the fact that, as we mentioned, they're venomous. There are only a handful of venomous mammals, and the Selenadon is one of them, but there were many more back in the day. This animal has changed very little in the last 76 million years, leading many to refer to them as living fossils, although its survival is now uncertain and has been since Europeans arrived on their islands. Pink fairy armadillo. Oh man, you're definitely going to want to roll this part fuzzy, part finger-breaking little animal up and keep him in your pocket. This is the pink fairy armadillo, which, adorably, is the smallest species of armadillo around. It grows to just 3.5 to 4.5 inches in length. Not to mention, these weird little armadillos weigh only 4.2 ounces. They are native to central Argentina's shrublands and eat things like larvae, ants, and other insects, as well as worms, which aren't insects, and snails. They dig these up with their huge, ferocious-looking claws, which they also use to dig themselves burrows in the soil. It's said that they can burrow through the ground as fast as a fish can swim in the sea. Aaye. With a name that for some invokes the thought of pirates, you may think the Aaye would be a little bit more mischievous. But they're not. They're actually about as far from mischievous as an animal can get. They spend their days sleeping in nests made in the forks of large trees in the deciduous forests and rainforests of Madagascar, all the way up close to the canopy. They're nocturnal animals and begin to actively search for food when the sun goes down. And it's their method of finding food that has become one of the animal's most recognizable characteristics. They tap up to 8 times per second on the branches and trunks of trees and listen to the echo. If the echo says there's a hollow chamber behind the wood, the Aaye gnaws a hole inside, and using its long, slim, dexterous middle finger, it extracts grubs and eats them. These creatures are also really odd-looking, but we won't even go into that right now. Markor. The Markor is a beautiful animal, most well known for its long corkscrew horns, which is why it's also often known as the screw-horn goat. The Markor is native to the Himalayas, Central Asia, and Karakoram, and also serves as Pakistan's national animal. The Markor stands between 26 and 45 inches tall, spans 52 to 73 inches in length, and weighs somewhere between 71 and 243 pounds. Then there are the horns, which can grow to be 10 inches long for females and up to 63 inches for males. The Markor lives at elevations between 1,900 and 11,000 feet in the forested mountains of their respective countries. They're listed as near threatened on the IUCN Red List and have been since 2015. Saiga Antelope. You may never get to see one of these interesting-looking antelopes in person, as they're considered critically endangered for a few reasons. They used to be found all along the Eurasian steppe area, from Mongolia all the way to Caucasus, but are now found in 3 different regions of Kazakhstan and just 1 region of Russia. Now, these creatures are just a little different, as they have bloated, closely spaced nostrils and a nose that slopes downward, but their difference comes in handy in various situations. That nose is used to heat up the air in the cold winters before it travels to the animal's lungs, to filter out dust kicked up by herds and other animals, and to help keep their blood cool. Cute? Not. Squidward? Maybe. Cape rain frog. These little animals are super round and chunky and are probably some of the cuter frogs around. Out of all the African species of frogs, the Cape rain frog was the first African frog to be scientifically described. It's called the Cape rain frog because it lives in Cape Town, Africa's southwestern Cape. It typically lives beneath the ground and is sometimes seen in damp or misty conditions, but mostly comes out just before it starts to rain. They eat little insects and worms, and when they feel threatened, they swallow air to puff themselves up to appear larger than they really are. They are yet another near-threatened animal on the IUCN Red List. Glass frog. While we're already on the subject of frogs, we thought now would be a good time to tell you about glass frogs. They can be found between Panama and southern Mexico, as well as Venezuela to Bolivia in the Andes. They're tree-dwelling frogs, also called arboreal, and only come out during mating season. But what's special about these guys? Well, while most glass frogs have a lime green background color, the skin on their bellies is transparent, and you can see into the inside of the frog. If that's not awesome, I just don't know what is. Bateared fox. This especially strange-looking fox can be found on the African savanna, and we bet you've got an idea why it's called a bat-eared fox. If you haven't figured it out yet, it's because of its enormous ears, and some of its other names, such as big-eared fox and long-eared fox, pay tribute to those bad boys as well. But it's not just the ears themselves that earn this one the honor of being a strange-looking animal. It's almost as though the large ears make the face look too small, and the result is a really cute, disproportionate critter. Humpback anglerfish. This ugly-looking fish is called the humpback anglerfish, and it's a species of black sea devil. It typically lives at depths between 3,200 and 13,000 feet in both the bathypelagic and mesopelagic zones. They were once thought to dwell in only tropical and temperate areas of the world's oceans, but recently, in 2016, a discovery inside an Antarctic toothfish changed that. The toothfish was pulled from the Ross Sea, far from an area one would expect to find a humpback anglerfish, but sure enough, there was one inside the stomach of the toothfish. These strange creatures hunt by sitting and waiting while their bioluminescent esca, the glowing fishing pole thing on their head, draws in unsuspecting prey. Males are relatively small and aren't predatory, whereas females are large with sharp teeth, big mouths, and big stomachs, and can eat pretty much anything they come across. Blue dragon. Take a look at these excellent-looking little babies. This is the blue dragon, or blue glaucus, blue angel, blue ocean slug, sea swallow, and on and on. The blue dragon is a kind of sea slug, and it's a truly strange but really interesting animal. They grow to be just 1.3 inches long and use a gas sac in their stomachs and surface tension to help them float along in the pelagic zone. They can swim just a tiny bit at a time using their cerata to make little swimming movements. The blue dragon is a daring and cunning little creature and will prey on things like the violet snail, the blue button, the Japanese man-o'-war, and other animals with venomous nematocysts. They will eat the animals and then pick through their nematocysts to find the deadliest ones and take them for themselves. They store them in sacs and use them when needed. And the worst part is that the blue dragon concentrates the nematocyst venom, making them even more deadly than the original animals they got it from. These are pretty intense little creatures. Musk deer. These strangely beautiful vampire deer call the alpine scrublands and forests in the Himalayas and other mountain ranges in southern Asia home. There are 7 different species of musk deer, but they all live in Asia, although the earliest are known to have lived in Europe based on Oligocene deposits. These creatures are not true deer and are in fact different in many ways, including the fact that they don't have antlers. They have a pair of scary Dracula fangs, and the males have got a musk gland. They're pretty cool looking critters, even with their demon teeth. Naked mole rat. If you weren't a fan of the TV show Kim Possible, then you actually may not know what this is. For the rest of you, Rufus was much cuter than these awkward little critters. This is the naked mole rat, or the sand puppy to some, and it's native to various parts of East Africa. The naked mole rat is a burrower, so they live underground, sometimes in super harsh conditions, which they're built to withstand. These animals are almost wholly cold-blooded and are what are known as thermoconformers, animals that can regulate their body temperature even when the outside temperature is different, and are the only mammals known to do so. They breathe very slowly and have really low metabolic rates, as well as no pain sensitivity in their skin. They handle oxygen deprivation really well and are nearly immune to cancer. They can live up to 32 years, and they eat giant tubers that can weigh up to 1,000 times what a naked mole rat weighs. If this animal isn't one of your new favorite awesome animals, go watch Kim Possible and your mind will change really quick. We've got some crazy, creepy, and kinda cute animals so far, and we still have one more to go. But first, I want to ask, what's your favorite animal and why? Is it something typical or something more out of the ordinary? I know, it's the naked mole rat, isn't it? If it's not, let me know in the comments. 1. Calloohgo. If you ever travel to the tropical forests of Southeast Asia, you'll have a chance to have a run-in with these little fellas. They stand just 14 to 16 inches tall and weigh a tiny 2.2 to 4.4 pounds. And they're often called flying lemurs, although they are not true lemurs, just relatives. Calloohgos also have giant insect-like or alien eyes, and honestly, I don't know if it's something I'd want to see staring at me from a tree canopy. Creepy. Calloohgos are related to primates, but they've got one significant advantage over their cousins. They can glide around the forest with their membranous wings and can travel distances of 230 feet without losing much altitude. They don't climb really well, though, as they don't have opposable thumbs. They also have webbed feet and aren't all that strong, so I guess the primates may have them matched in the end. They're pretty cool, and so are the rest of the animals on this list.